morning everyone. I am Birendra Roy. We are starting a new chapter today, which is the second phase or the second part of your lighting chapter, that is types of lighting and different other principles while taking care about the lighting. So the first and foremost thing about this lighting chapter for these types of lighting are classified into few categories. The basic number are 6 types. Number 1 will be the direct lighting. Which is direct lighting? The light that we receive naturally from the source of sun or the source of moon or from the shadows on the daily basis on the natural source. This basically we signify the sun is a major source of our natural sunlight or the natural lights that we received to make the area lighted, illuminated, and to make the glare. Okay, number 2 is the indirect lighting. Okay, one more thing for the direct lighting. Direct lighting are basically a kind of a features or a fitting that throw or given upon the direct source of energy on a particular surface, and it will be giving a pointing beam on that particular surface, are generally known as the direct lighting. You can create your direct lighting with some kind of features which is made by your artificial lighting, or can be you can use the natural lighting with a certain mode in a way so that it can reflect on a particular surface on your working area on a direct basis. Number 2 is your indirect lighting. What is indirect lighting? It is a kind of a lighting which is generally produced from a hidden source. The lighting is generally been directed on the ceiling. It can be hidden under any kind of shades, under any kind of shelf, from where it can be reflected on the entire guest room area. This indirect lighting has a certain specification. It creates no shadows and it's generally hidden near to the ceiling area. You may have found in the room there are some false ceiling, and that particular area you generally found this indirect lighting. And in case of this indirect lighting, these are not very much strong or cord, and it will not going to give that much of hue or a huge kind of luminosity in front of your very eyes. These are very much mild, very much decorative lighting that nowadays we are using in a guest room area, especially to the to make the area decorative, to the corners, to the near to the shelves, near to the bookshelves at the lobby area. It can be there on the corridors, it can be there near to the staircases and elevators and many more. Depend on the establishment they generally use. Number 3 is the diffuse lighting. What is called diffuse lighting are generally kind of a fitting which is generally closed or concealed, and this particular lighting are having a kind of a pass-through variation. What is pass-through variation? See, for example, this my hand is a kind of a ceiling, and if I am keeping a particular lighting beneath that one, and it will be fixed permanently with that, and from that particular area it will be discharged the luminosity or the light for the entire base or entire surface that you want to be lighted up. Okay, number 4 is the direct or indirect lighting. See, this is a kind of either or kind of a chances 50-50. These are a kind of a lighting which can be variation of having the direct lighting parameters, or it can be having the parameters which are having for the indirect lighting. Like this kind of lighting are generally given for those particular places that we want to be decorated for or lighted for all around. It's generally found at discotheque, or it can be found in the nightclub for that particular area, where we need to be lighted those area in a different angle all at a time. Okay, next is the semi-direct. It's under the variation of direct and indirect lighting. What is semi-direct? See, in case of the direct lighting that I told you, it will be focusing on a single point from ceiling to the floor, and it will be discharging that luminosity, or you can see the entire place downward. Whereas these semi-direct fittings are having some kind of 60% of that entire lighting which are going down to the work surface, and rest of the amount which is having approx 40% of this luminosity of the lighting will be scattered or can be hidden from many other surfaces. Again, these are one of the decorative lightings that you found in the hotel. Number 6, that is semi-indirect lighting. See, in case of the indirect lighting, I told you it will be a kind of a lighting which is generally hidden under the you know, kind of a base, kind of a false ceiling, or under any kind of covered area where the lighting generally fixed, and from there it discharges luminosity and focus on the ceiling, or can be on the table or on the floor, depending on the places. But over here for this semi-indirect lighting, in compared with the semi-direct lighting, here is the 60% to 90% of this direct lighting ceiling will be there, and 10 to 40% of that direct lighting luminosity it will be focusing on the work surface. Like it will be the opposite of your semi-direct lighting, whereas for semi-direct lighting the 60% it was been converted, will be 40% that will be discharging on the floor, whereas 60% will be covered up by some kind of features, or can be by any kind of ceiling, like that. Okay, now after types of lighting we will be going for the kinds of lighting. What are the different kinds? It's not a part, it's a totally a variation, or you can say pattern, or you can say parameter, you can say that which kinds of lighting that I can use, and depending of my what kind of work that I am going to do, right? For let's go for these points directly. Number one is the general lighting or the overall illumination. I told you this lux is called a kind of a variation in the part of your first video of this lighting chapter, that actually signifies that how much it is going to be lighted up, right? So over here this general lighting and overall illumination, it should be the provided for the variations of the intensities. What is intensity? I told you in the coloring chapter is the brightness and the dullness of the color, that actually pressing up the different types of buttons or dimmers. See, these kind of general lightings or the overall illuminating lighting are having different kind of variations, like bright lighting to the dim lighting or medium lighting, or it can be having some general features, like the lighting may have some I told you in this previous part of this video, they are having some direct lighting, indirect lighting, or combination of the both, like semi or direct indirect, or semi indirect lighting. So these are the parameters that we are using. Second parameter, what it can be, like task of lighting or the local lighting. What is local lighting? It is particularly needed, you can say, the reading, or for your personal household work, or for your grooming, or for your play indoor games and all. See, these local lighting are signifies for those particular lighting that we are using in our own work, or rather you can say within a particular area that is comes under your supervision. It can be a hotel, it can be a premises, it can be a huge building, it can be your house, and many more. While you are doing your own work, it can be reading, task, working, reading, talking to the people, playing indoor games, like all those places. And number third and the last, which is comes under the kinds of lighting, that is your accent lighting. See, this accent literally means the to brings up or to boost up the decorativeness or the beautifying of the lighting. It's a particular term that we use when you need to decorate your guest room area, or pubs, or your sitting area, or your dining passages, or many other sections, without giving this general lighting. This particular accent lighting, you will find a kind of a glare, or the brightness, coolness, verification, modifications we provide in this kind of accent lighting, and specially used for the decorative purposes only. Now we will go for few principles that why should we need this lighting, that without any reason we should not be studying any kind of point that is not necessary for our hotel housekeeping. See, for this lighting chapter, there are some particular factors which are generally considered to be when planning for the lighting system. See, it doesn't mean I have hell lots of budget, I have hell lots of money, so I can purchase any of the lighting and that can be suited to my guest room. It is a totally wrong concept. The first and foremost thing that we generally take care of on this regards, it will be the amount of lighting that is required to light up a particular area. You need to understand that what specific area you are having to do what category of work. Like it will be divided into few points, like location, it can be the direction as well, reflective qualities or the reflection, texture of the surface where you are putting the light or you are fixing the light, like you are mounting a particular lighting features or a bulb on the wall. Next, it can be the number of lamps or the features that you want to use for, and very lastly, which is very much important, that is your wastage of the bulb and the watt, that how much content of watt that you are using, because these are source of energy that we need to develop, especially for the artificial lights. Just forget about this natural light, because most of the cases when we need to decorate our own guest room areas or other this in-house area, we need to take care about our budget and about our electric charges, and these are very much important. Next, what it can be coming up, like it will be your artificial lighting of a guest room, which you need to check or need to take care for the heating consumption, or you need to check for the growing temperature. Next, you need to check for type of decoration of the design that you want to looking for, depend on the guest room area. See if a room is made for kids, if the room is made for bedroom purposes only, if the room is made for your sitting or the dining room purposes only, all those categories are different from each other. So you need to check for the design and obviously the durability. You need to check for a certain amount of expenditure and need to purchase for those category of light that will give you some minimum expenditure of your electricity bill or consumption of your electric. It will be available in the market, the durability should be there, and at the end you need to clean it. You need to continuously maintain those standards throughout the procedures. In case of our home, what we can do, we can maintain our minimum numbers of equipment and the features, but in case of the hotel, there will be the 1,000 equipments, 1,000 number of electric features, bulb, tubes, a decorative pattern of lights, chandeliers will be there. So whichever the lights that you are going to use, you need to take care for these factors. So in this chapter, guys, we have discussed the various factors, the various category and the types of your lighting. So please combine this chapter with your previous video, that is your chapter number 1 for the lighting chapter, that combined with your definition, types of lighting and various major factors. So it will be your second video. You find any difficulties, once again please do not hesitate to call me or to text me in the mail or in the WhatsApp. So that's all for the day. Thank you.